I'm going to show you how to get smoke flavor on your barbecue with no smoker, one chunk of wood. Okay, what I have here is a nice cut of steak. It's an inside round roast and it's 2 inches thick. This piece is probably a little over a kilogram. It's a lot of steak to consume at one time, but I'm not consuming it all myself in one sitting. I'm actually going to use some of this leftovers for another meal, but I'll tell you all about that after the cooking is done. So alongside it, I've got some Brussels sprouts, honey garlic balsamic, and also some red potatoes, which I'm going to roast in the oven alongside the Brussels sprouts. As for the sides, I've put butter in both dishes, and once it gets in the oven, it'll all melt down and I'll swirl everything around. As for the Brussels sprouts, there's balsamic vinegar and garlic, and I added some honey. I've tried with maple syrup before, but it's not right. You would think the two of them are sweet, so it'd be okay, but maple syrup doesn't do it. And I love my maple syrup, so honey's your best bet. With the roasted potatoes, there's some red onion in there. There's parsley, thyme, garlic, salt, and pepper. Okay, so I'm just going to put this steak inside a Ziploc bag and put some of this organic Worcestershire sauce in it. Really good, this stuff. And I'm going to put some olive oil so it doesn't stick on the grill. I'm going to slather it around and swish it around a bit in the rub, because a little bit of it, you could see, doesn't have any on it, right? I haven't put any salt yet because I didn't want it to dry out. I mean, the dry rub is already going to dry it out a little bit. Hopefully not too much. But we're going to let this soak for a little bit before we put it on the barbecue. Oh, that smells so good. And some olive oil. With the air out, swish it around. I'm going to let that sit for about half an hour, 45 minutes, and then we're going to throw it on the barbecue. In terms of how I prepare the steak, I usually put it in a Ziploc bag with some really good organic Worcestershire sauce and a bunch of allspice, lots of black peppercorns, garlic, and thyme. But today I decided to do a dry rub. So this has been sitting for about an hour or so, and I'm going to put it in a bag with some Worcestershire sauce after this, and let it soak in that for a little bit before I put it on the barbecue. Okay, this is a chunk of hickory. It smells amazing. You get the fire going, and you place this wood chunk right on the heat source under the grill. Then I'm just going to let it flame up. Okay, look at that. Lots of flame, but you don't want too much flame. Otherwise, it's going to turn into a hot coal, like a nice orange coal, like in your wood stove or at the end of a fire, and it's going to burn right out. You're not going to get smoke. Now what you do now is blow it out. Blow out the flame. See all those embers? Look at all that smoke coming off of there. That's all flavor right there. So I'm just going to scrape down the grill, and I'm going to get this steak on. Look at that chunk in the background there. You can't beat that. Okay, here we go. Lay that on there, get some nice grill marks going. Turn down the burner. I'm going to salt this side of the meat with Himalayan pink salt. I'm going to come back to it in a bit and see how it goes. Okay, let's see how much smoke we got coming out of here. Look at that. Okay, it's time to flip this thing too, but what I'm going to do first, I'm going to baste it. I got some hickory barbecue sauce, and a little bit of steak sauce. This mixture is about 30, maybe between 30 and 40% steak sauce and 50 to 60% or 60 to 70% barbecue sauce. I'm going to flip it now. I'll see if I get a crosshatch pattern. I'm not really big on the whole crosshatch thing. Let's see. I tried for once. A little overcooked there. You can see some cross-hatching. I like when the edge is crispy. A little too much, but it's going to be good. This will moisten this charred edge here, or this charred surface. Yeah, it's a little too much, but it's all good. It's not necessarily good for you. Eating that burnt stuff is not good, but as long as you don't overdo it, then you should be okay. Okay, we'll cover it back and let the other side cook. Let's see how it goes. We're all done here. Look at that. I'm going to put out that smoker chunk with a little bit of water. And turn it over so I get the hot side. Look at all this smoke coming off of that. Now the thing is, if you let this burn too much, it's going to burn right through. But a byproduct of this process, this is now a lump of charcoal. Then I save it, I put it in a bag, and then I've got a bag of charcoal. And I usually use maple, apple, and hickory, so that's my charcoal mix. Naturally, this steak, it's not going to cook right through. It's actually going to be somewhat medium rare. It's kind of inevitable, you know, so, but it's good when it's like that if you get it right. Okay, let's go get everything else. Okay, all done. I got all my veggies here. I used the broiler in the oven to crisp up the Brussels sprouts a little bit. I got them a little bit too overdone here too, as you can see. But they're not too bad. It's just more surface, right? I'll scoop some out on the plate. Or before I do that, oh, there goes my fire alarm. See what happens? Okay, so first things first, I told you I was going to use some of the steak for another purpose, for breakfast. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to get the area where there's a little bit of fat and where it's nice and chunky. And I'm going to use this to make some breakfast tortillas, steak and egg tortillas. I make chipotle sauce. So I throw those in the whole wheat tortillas with green onion, cilantro, avocado, and a little bit of habanero hot sauce, and then I squeeze some lime in there, right? But when I cook the steak again, I'll chop it up into pieces. Look at that. It's not really rare inside there, but probably inside there. When I chop it up in pieces, I'll go and throw it in with the eggs, and I'll throw some chili powder. So I'm going to throw it in this container. I'm going to let it cool down before I cover it. And then I'll put it away for breakfast. And I'll dish out some of this Brussels sprouts. Make some room for the potatoes. Look at those potatoes. Just the right texture. I already tested them. Can't wait to get into this. So I'm going to cut into the steak for you guys to see. I'm not going to open it all the way. Can you see? There you go. Okay. So here I go, cutting into the steak. There's a lot of juice in there. It's pretty soft. And actually, it's not very rare at all. It's actually pretty much cooked. Yeah, there's hardly any pink in there. Usually I have an issue where sometimes it's a little too pink. Maybe if I get into the center. But let's try it out here. Mm-hmm. Mm. They're not too crispy, the Brussels sprouts. It could be a little more. But the outside, the leaves, they got crispy. That's all that's crispy. Otherwise, they're soft. The potatoes. Yeah. Look at that. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this meal. I'll have more coming for you too. Firewood goes with cooking.